Think about the last time you felt it. That pull toward someone, like gravity but personal. Your heart sped up. Your palms went a little damp. We call it a spark. Chemistry, a connection you cannot explain, but you trust it completely. People reorganize their entire lives around that feeling. They leave jobs, cross oceans, make irreversible decisions, all because of a feeling that arrived in seconds. But what if it was never about them at all? What if the spark you felt, the one that has started relationships, ended marriages, and shaped whole lives, was your own body lying to you and your brain quietly covering for it? In 1974, two psychologists set out to test exactly that idea. They chose a bridge in Canada, and what they found that was so deeply unsettling that 50 years later, it still changes the way scientists think about attraction, emotion, and everything you thought you understood about your own feelings. Once you understand what happened on that bridge, you will never fully trust a spark again. The place was the Capilano Suspension Bridge, just north of Vancouver, British Columbia. Picture the entrance. Wooden planks stretching away from you, wire cables on each side, and nothing but open air beneath the edges as far as you can see. When you look straight down to the gaps in the planks, you can see the rocky canyon floor 230 feet below. 230 feet! The planks beneath your feet are uneven. There are gaps between them, and the bridge sways. With every step, it tilts and bounces and swings out over the gorge. Your body hates this place. Every instinct you have is screaming at once. Your heart hammers. Your hands grip the wire until your knuckles go white. Every nerve in your body is firing a single word. Now, a few minutes away, there was a second bridge, solid, wide, heavy cedar planks, sitting just 10 feet above a small, quiet stream. 10 feet. You could almost step down to it. Crossing it felt like crossing a sidewalk. Nobody's pulse changed. Nobody gripped anything. Two bridges. One designed to terrify your nervous system. One designed to bore it. That was the setup. And that single difference, that is the entire experiment. Here is what the psychologists, Dutton and Aron, arranged. As single men crossed each bridge alone and reached the far side, a young woman was waiting. She was a research assistant. The men had no idea she was part of any study. She told each man she was collecting data for a psychology class project and asked if he had a few minutes to answer some quick questions. Most men said yes. The questions were just a cover. Standard items, completely forgettable. One task was to look at an ambiguous picture, a card showing a person in an unclear situation, and write a short imaginative story about what they saw. The men wrote their stories. Then the real moment arrived. As the man finished, she tore a small corner off the questionnaire sheet, wrote her name and phone number on it, and told him that if he ever wanted to discuss the study further, he should call her that evening. Then she smiled and walked away. That was it. Same woman, same smile, same number. The only thing that changed from one man to the next was which bridge he had just walked across. So here's the question. Did that bridge make any difference? It shouldn't. A phone number is a phone number. The researchers went back to their office, set a phone on the desk, and waited. The clock moved. Who would call? The men who crossed the safe, boring bridge mostly did not call. Out of everyone who took her number, only 1 in 8 ever dialed it, which is completely reasonable. Most people don't call a stranger they spoke to for 90 seconds. But the men who had just crossed the terrifying bridge, half of them called. Half. The same woman became dramatically more attractive, simply because a man had just survived 230 feet of swaying wooden planks. And it was not just the calls. During the questionnaire, each man had written a story about the ambiguous picture. The men coming off the terrifying bridge wrote stories packed with noticeably more romantic content. Their minds weren't just more likely to call her later. They were already filling up with her before the conversation was even over. Two groups. Same woman. Same question. Same number. Completely different reaction. Why? The answer is a glitch. One so fundamental that once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And it is running inside you right now. The bridge did not make her more beautiful. It changed nothing about her. But it changed everything about what those men's bodies were already feeling. And that is where it gets strange. Think about what fear does to your body. Your heart hammers. Your breathing goes shallow. Your palms sweat. Your stomach flips. Racing heart. Sweaty palms. Fast breathing. Butterflies in the stomach. Now read that list again, because it is also, word for word, the list we use to describe falling for someone. Fear and attraction produce nearly identical physical sensations in the body. When those men stepped off the terrifying bridge, their bodies were still roaring. The adrenaline had not drained. The heart was still hammering. The fear was physically still there, buzzing through every nerve. And then they looked up, and a beautiful woman was standing right there. Their brain felt the pounding heart, the shaky hands, the rush of it all, and it needed a reason. The body was clearly reacting to something, and standing right there, conveniently, was a gorgeous explanation. So the brain reached the wrong conclusion. It decided, I feel this way because of her. The fear did not disappear. It got renamed. Psychologists call this the misattribution of arousal. Your body generates a feeling. Your mind, desperate for a story, pins it on the nearest available cause. And you believe it completely. And if that were the whole story, it would just be a strange fact about bridges. But it is not, because the same thing happens at the cinema, on a roller coaster, in the middle of a high-pressure project, with someone you had never thought about before. Every time your body is already racing, for any reason at all, it hands your brain raw material that your brain might mislabel as something else entirely. And that is not even the strangest part of this story. 12 years before the bridge, in 1962, two researchers named Schachter and Singer ran an even stranger experiment. They gave volunteers an injection, told them it was a vitamin to test their eyesight. It was not a vitamin. It was adrenaline. Within minutes, every volunteer had a racing heart, trembling hands, and absolutely no idea why. Because as far as they knew, they had just been given a vitamin shot. Then each person was placed in a waiting room with an actor. For some volunteers, the actor was giddy, laughing, tossing paper planes around the room. For others, the actor was furious, ranting, slamming things onto the table. Same injection, same racing heart, same trembling hands. But the volunteers in the happy room decided they felt happy. The volunteers in the angry room decided they felt angry. The arousal was completely identical. The only thing that changed was the story playing out around them, and their minds just borrowed it. An emotion is not one thing. It is two, a physical surge in the body, and a label your mind attaches to that surge afterward. The body says something is happening. The mind decides what, and the mind can be wrong far more often than you will ever notice it happening. Now think about your own life. Where have you felt your strongest sparks? When was your heart already racing before you even noticed the person beside you? Was it at the horror film, both of you sitting tense in the dark before you ever spoke? The brutal deadline-driven project, both of you under pressure, leaning over the same screen at midnight? The turbulent flight, both of you gripping the armrests and somehow ending up talking for 3 hours straight? We are taught that the most intense connections are the most real ones. The bridge says the opposite. The more your heart was already racing, for any reason at all, the more suspicious the spark. Some of the most powerful chemistry you have ever felt may have been a misfiled fear. The adrenaline was real. The person was real. The feeling was completely real. But the reason your brain invented, that was borrowed from somewhere else entirely. A wobbling bridge, quietly wearing someone's face. And here is the hardest part. The men on that bridge were certain. Not one of them thought, I am just feeling the leftover fear. They felt attraction. Real, immediate, convincing attraction. The mistake did not feel like a mistake. It felt like the truth. Are you sure? If your body can be racing for one reason and your mind can hand you a completely different reason, and you will believe it instantly without a second thought, then how many of your own feelings have you ever actually stopped to check? The experiment ended 50 years ago, but you are still standing on it. Every time your heart races and a tidy story arrives to explain exactly why, that is you at the end of the bridge, holding a phone number, sure that it means something. The heart's still pounding. The question's still there. Maybe the spark was real, or maybe your body was just remembering a wooden plank 230 feet above a river, and your mind needed someone to blame it on. You felt it. You trusted it. You never asked the bridge.